I welcome everyone to the Vasu webinar, and today we are discussing a very important topic. And first of all, I would wish everyone a very happy Independence Day. And what best than, taking up a topic for the young generation, who is the future of tomorrow. And today being the Independence Day, I think it's very apt. So let me first share my screen to introduce our esteemed panelists today. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. Today's topic is the role of social connection. How children need to actually, what is the definition of success in life? Uh, and we have with us today Girija Gopinath. Girija has 17 plus years of rich and diverse experience in industry like advertising, express, healthcare, 7 plus years in the field of K-12 education, and presently she's working with Ampersand Group in ECS operations, managing 7 trusts, set up 650 plus Balwadis, 1400 staff providing digital education. And she's also working for a project for 100 crèches with the Karnataka government. Welcome, Girija, and so glad to have you in this forum. And we have Mr. Tarun Sharma. Tarun is a motivational speaker, a happiness coach, mentor, and social activist. He's also he's a MA in social work, masters in social work, and NLP masters practitioner, and the founder president of the Rising Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. That's an NGO. Wonderful. And he has transformed the lives of more than 5 lakhs people, trained 10,000 plus principals, teachers, and 5 lakh students. I mean, this is such good work that Tarun is doing. Plus, he's associated with a lot of corporates like the RBI, SAIL, where he gives a lot of his workshops and motivational trainings. We have with us Priti Pasricha. She's the academic coordinator of CP Goenka International School, an enthusiastic educator since 20 years, from a primary teacher to a leader. Apart from that, she's an educational thought leader, a mentor, and a speaker, proud recipients of many awards, and also the president of Wiki Elementary Education. She's authored the book Preeti's Perfect Tips and Mastery, which I need to read once to get all the tips from her. And I welcome both Tarun and Preeti to the forum. And the last speaker that we have is none other than Snowy Rahi. She's a practicing psychologist and a certified emotional intelligence coach, MA in clinical psychology and organizational behavior, a PG diploma in guidance and counseling. And she is at present the senior research analyst at ASCC and counseling psychologist at Minds Infinity. So we have a wonderful panel today to talk about this very important subject. And before we delve into this entire thing, let me tell you a little about what Vasu is all about. So Vasu Talent Search is an initiative of Midnarai Foundation Private Limited, an education company in the market since last 8 years. And we have been, really trying to spread the light of knowledge to quality education. Vasu is an attempt to discover students' innate skills, and develop their minds. It's a national level certificate and scholarship program for students aimed at understanding their aptitude and motivating them. So we have assessment and evaluations done on multiple talent-based range, from academic to creative problem solving. We would have psychometric assessment for students by renowned psychometric researchers who would also help students to choose their career. And it would allow students to improve their core skills through systematic tests. So let me go to the next screen. I think there's a little problem in the screen share. Sorry about that. So why should a student appear for Vasu? Number one, we always look at upgrading our academic skills or our other skills. So basically, this is a test which would, enable students to understand. Number two, give them a platform to voice their opinions, brainstorm. So for the first time, we are getting students on board to actually, ideate and tell about, or brainstorm in a forum, which we'll be providing them. Certification and scholarships would help. The USTT, the unique testing skills for students, is going to be unique. And like I already said, the psychometric assessment and the analysis report is going to really help the students to understand SWOT and strive towards excellence. And students will be given an all India level ranking to help them assess their position. And our team consists of education researchers, academic coaching, mentors, and IIT alumnus.
Wow.
So the program will be 2-level. So we'll be giving certificates of participation at all the levels. Plus the students who go to the next level will be getting scholarships and certificate of excellence, besides some others that we are going to give them. There's a lot in the package. The Olympiads are starting from September onwards. We are having our first on the September 30th for this year. Then 2nd of October, 3rd, and then 24th. So there are different time slots available for different students, because we know everybody is busy with the online classes and all. So there'll be 4 classes from class 6 to 9, and the subjects would be math, science, and general studies. So that's all about VASU. I'll stop. Anybody who is interested may get in touch with us. They can follow our page and our website, where the details, coordinates are given here. vasuinfo@gmail. They can write to us or visit our website as well. Thank you so much for listening to this. And I'll stop my screen share and come back to this very, very interesting webinar on today's topic. And so my first question would be a general question to all our panelists, and I would start with Preeti. And you have 3 minutes to answer this. So Preeti, what according to you constitutes a student's success in later life? Over to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Vasvi, and wish all of you a very happy Independence Day. And I'm so much grateful to be invited on this platform of VASU webinar. As you have already introduced me, Dr. Vasu, I am Preeti Pasricha with 20 years of experience in education field. I would like to begin with a quote written by me, and that is, "Mother gives birth and teacher gives worth." And it is what I truly believe in. Now, to be precise, I have been fortunate to give birth to around 15,000 students in my 20 years of journey in education field. And also, if we talk about student success, while I remain passionate about my work that helps students thrive, the growing attention to the words so-called student success has led me to the answer to give the real definition of it. Now, because I am naturally data oriented in my thinking, I have always wondered, like, how can we truly know whether are we reaching the goal of student success? I have seen and also engaged in many approaches, mostly related to measuring things like collecting, analyzing, and also reporting data for evaluative purposes. Is certainly needed response is what we all believe in, that if the student has graduated with highest percentage of marks, so that is what the student's success lies in. But whereas it is not the case. However, I also think that we have to do and think something beyond and more. For example, if we measure students' outcomes such as retention, persistence, and graduation, with the hope that positive numbers for such metrics would help us prove that students are successful. So then I would like to definitely raise these points to reframe our discussion and the student success. So at the minimum, as parents and educators, what we look at is that we need students to come out of college, become graduates from the college, and then they are successful. But then again, a successful journey to those milestones can be described in much more detail. A thorough and a meaningful college education can offer students one of the most dynamic, life-changing experiences that they will ever have. So the true measure of student success is how well students are prepared to accomplish their current and future academic, personal, and professional goals through the development of knowledge, a sense of responsibility, and self-reliance, and the connection to the college and the wider community. Now, to end with, as you said, Dr. Vasi, we have only 3 minutes. I will just say 4 more points, but in a little detail. Like, it's not only about the marks that the students get and it implies that the students are successful. but also the students need to be proactive in thinking. Now, being proactive simply does not mean having the ability to take charge of your life regardless of any limitations or setbacks in order to create a positive income, but whereas work hard and high performing students have a hard work ethic. Now, considering today's students face new life societal changes that could span both, I guess, the pre-college life and the post-college life. So a successful student knows when and how to adapt to or attempt to change their environment. A successful student understands that their own needs and the needs of others and knows how to balance competing individual and community priorities. A successful student knows how to manage resources, both those for which they are individually responsible and those they share responsibility with others. The last point, a successful student realizes their unique contributions to the world and is prepared to leverage their abilities to improve the conditions around them. So to conclude, I would say like working hard at getting a good education has always been seen as the right thing. But yes, along with education, there are various other skills that students require. So as we as educators and parents should always look to all of these skills.
Wonderfully said, Preeti. Flexibility, being empathetic, manage resources, and leverage oneself. Those are the key points that you gave us. Very wonderful. Now, coming to the same question to Tarun, what according to you constitutes student success in later life? Over to you, Tarun.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful stage, and thank you, Dr. Vasvi ji and Preeti ji. आपका जो background है, that looks really beautiful, and happy Independence to everyone.
Thank you.
And lovely to share the stage with Snohi Rahi and Girija ji also. But I just wanted to tell you one thing. I'm not very, IQ kind of people. So as she was saying that I'm a happiness coach, so I used to laugh a lot actually. And I'm right now at Goa, and since 1 month I'm in Goa. And can you believe I'm training general managers of one of the biggest PSU of our country about happiness. So my thought is all about success is actually, it is, if you're not happy, okay, if you are not happy in your life, doesn't matter which profession you have, you are a teacher, but if you are not happy, because I have mentored almost 10,000 principals, teachers, and lots of students. So why I'm telling you all these things, if you are not happy in your life, whatever profession you have, you are not successful. My definition of success is you have to be happy. If you are not happy in your relationship, if you are not happy in your job, if you are not happy, so the thing is, you have to find out that that there is a quote by Mr. Narayan Murthy sir. Do what you think you are good at, and you will be good in what you think you are good at. वो करो जो आपको अच्छा लगता है, और आप उसी में और अच्छे हो जाओगे. So like I like speaking. So after my college, when I was not happy when I completed my degree, as well as so many of my colleagues also, my student friends also. Even I met so many students who did their BTech, then MBA, then doctorate, then so many, but still they are not happy. So, and I'm talking about India. So we stand almost 139th number in happiness index, and this is the only reason that we are not good in so many things. So education is very important, but what actually you like, your hobbies, your interest areas are. And that if schools are helping you, teachers are helping you, and that Vasu group are also, I suppose they're also helping students to find out their talents and their interests and their hobbies. And if they can, nurture that kind of thing, to make their future fruitful. So if you can be a happy engineer, happy doctor, happy MBA graduate, happy Prime Minister, Prime Minister of India, but he's not happy, लगते नहीं है happy. So मैं यहाँ पे इतना चाहता हूँ इनको, can you please, it's a 4 days workshop, and if parents are listening me, so this is my humble request to every one of you, please don't pressurize your kids. don't pressurize your child to, to go for that kind of education. If you love guitar, okay, my God, there are so many options. If you love cooking, if you love, singing, if you love speaking like me, if you love to be a counselor, kuch bhi banna chahta hai, just help them. And believe me, your son, your daughter, if he can, fulfill their dreams, actually, their passionate areas, so that will make them a happy product. And once you get that happiness quotient in your life, and you are so happy to, whatever you are following in your life, so that can be a successful future for you as well as for this nation also. My point, actually. Happy.
Correct, Mr. Tarun. This is what I also feel very much. I mean, besides, yes, what Preeti had shared, this is a very, very important part of one's life to be happy, because I've seen people working in Manhattan and they are like desperately unhappy
Yes.
about what they are doing. So
Yes.
now coming to understand Girija's Gopinath, what according to you constitutes student success in later life? Girija, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Acharya, for inviting me here, and to all the panelists, Preeti, Tarun, and Snowy. Honored to meet all of you here.
I love your smile, Girija ji. I love your smile. Lovely.
Thank you so much.
This is a happiness conclave, so please be happy.
Absolutely. I'm most happy and blissful. Thank you so much.
That's great. That's great.
So coming to the point, Dr. Acharya, while a lot of factors, I think, contributes to a successful life, I firmly believe that a balanced mind and a balanced body is critical to a good life. And hence, I think self-regulation is the key. With self-regulation, one is able to manage one's behavior and one's reaction. So basically, having a regulated, balanced approach to life as a whole. Self-regulation helps children to learn, behave well, along with others, and become independent in life. Neuroscientific advances demonstrate that the age range from 0 to 5 years old represents a very critical window for both learning and teaching. Research also shows that self-regulation begins to develop rapidly in a toddler and preschool and in the preschool years, and it continues to develop into adulthood. It is also said that an emotionally well-regulated parent will always have an emotionally well-regulated child, ever so often. So development of emotional competence and growth of self-regulation, I believe, is a foundation for long-term academic, personal, and social success, promoting mental health and well-being. So for me, I believe that for a balanced life, you need to have a balanced mind, a balanced view, and a balanced understanding of what's going on around you. Thank you so much.
Lovely.
Beautifully said, Girija. Girija has completely talked about another side to success, another side to success in life, and that's balance. So, it's not excess, it's not, keeping oneself balanced is so much a key. And now moving over to Snowy Rahi, what according to you constitutes student success in later life?
Right. This is a very, I think that it's a topic not talked about enough. But before I get into that, thank you so much, Doctor, for having me over. And it's wonderful to share this space with all my co-panelists. Your points were, very insightful. So there was this very interesting research that was conducted by Carol Dweck, Professor Carol Dweck. She's a professor at Stanford University. And she talked about growth mindset and fixed mindset, something which is being used a lot in corporates as well. But her major research is conducted on adolescents, on students. So I'd like to say that when we talk about success, it has to be in holistic terms. So like each panelist, everybody highlighted certain points. So it would be fair to say that we got to look into all of them. So when I talk about growth mindset, that would mean that how do you define success first? Is it just about achievement that, okay, my kid it needs to get 9 out of 10, right? So if that child does not get 9 out of 10, somewhere or the other, he or she would think, or they would think that, maybe I'm not good enough at it, and let's just not do it altogether. There are so many contributing factors. Now we also talk about neurodiversity, where kids don't learn in a similar manner, right? A child who has ADHD would learn something in a completely different way of teaching as opposed to a neurotypical child. So these are also certain factors that we got to consider when we talk about success in students. The second part that I'd like to highlight is caregivers, be it parents, adult siblings, teachers. The ecosystem of a child also contributes strongly when it comes to success, right? So when I talk about growth mindset, let's say a parent, rather than saying, so I'll use this phrase in Hindi and then I'll repeat it in English. तुम्हारे पास तो दिमाग ही नहीं है. You know, parents sometimes just say this, that you don't have a brain, and they say it to the child in a very, kind of a chiding manner. And I'm scolding you that you don't have a brain, you don't understand this sum. A child might actually internalize that and think, I don't have a brain, I'm not capable of doing this. What
Oh
if
my
a
God.
parent changed that statement to, okay, so you're not able to do this yet. So that yet gives us a window that, okay, maybe you haven't achieved it right now, but let's work on it. Let's see where this goes. So you haven't achieved it yet, but maybe after 3 trials, you will get there. So that would encompass a child being more motivated. Like we talk about motivation, a child will be happy because it's okay. Even when I haven't been able to achieve it right now, that doesn't mean I'm a failure. I haven't just been able to do it yet. I can always come back and do it again. So I think that concept of growth mindset, to acknowledge neurodiversity, to take care of the ecosystem along with the adolescent, are some very key factors that would contribute in the holistic development or overall growth of a adolescent, a child, or even at any stage of your life, is what I'd like to say.
You touched
Thank you,
my
Rahi.
story actually. Yeah, you can I add something?
Yes, please.
Actually, you touched my story. I taught all this story to everywhere. All the principals who attended my workshop, all the GMs, they knew this, that when I was in second class and my teacher called me in front of my class. Actually, I got 8 marks out of 100. Sorry, don't tell anyone, okay? So she told me, Tarun, you don't have brain. तुम्हारे में दिमाग ही नहीं है. Why you're wasting my life, even yours and mine. So I was in second actually. So मेरे को रोना आ गया. I decided at that day that I will not go to school anymore. दिमाग नहीं, ऐसा बोलते हैं ना. So as you said, then मैं घर आया. I just told my mom कि I'm not going to school anymore because my teacher told me that you don't have brain. So dear parents, इसको सुनिएगा ध्यान से. And my dad came in the evening and he said, why you are upset? मैंने कहा मेरे में दिमाग नहीं है, मैं स्कूल नहीं जाऊंगा. मेरी मैम ने बोला. मेरे डैड ने बोला वो तो मुझे पहले से पता था. My wife also is, she's also saying like this right now, you don't have brain. And I'm a brain trainer. So can you believe, I was so adamant that I'm not going to school anymore. So my dad took me to a doctor. He convinced me, you have a powerful brain. This is unfathomable powerful machine. You have to use it. But I was not convinced. So what he did, he put me into that brain scanner machine, okay, to just convince me. And when I got my report at 5 p.m. in the evening, it's a lovely story. So I got 2 brains, right and left, okay? So guys, we have 2 brains, left and right, left hemisphere and right hemisphere. And it was clearly seen into that picture. And can you believe I went to school next day and I just, went to my ma'am also. May I come in, ma'am? She said, yes, come in. Manika, ma'am, do. So, this is the story actually with everyone. We have this powerful machine, and I realized this when I completed my college. And I'm 100% agree with Snowy that yes, it doesn't matter you are good in studies or whatever. If you can be stuck in Sadulka, so you can be so successful than any other scholar. Thank you so much.
Growth mindset, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
We just need to change how we think.
Right. So Mr. Tarun actually seconded what Snowy said, which were very valid points taken. And now we are coming to the second round of our questions, and this is going to be a little detailed. So we have 11 minutes per speaker. I request you not to exceed your time. And my first question is to Girija. So Girija, what according to you is self-regulation? You already said a few points on that. And why is it needed in life of a student? Like in these times when we see so much of chaos, what do you think is the role of a parent to support self-regulation in adolescent children? Over to you, Girija.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Vasavi. I'll just do a screen share. And I would just request you to tell me if you all can view it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Self-regulation.
You can make it full screen. Yeah, done. Perfect.
Okay. All right. So let's understand and decode what self-regulation is. It's it's a topic very close to my heart because I am of the opinion and belief that self-regulation helps us get where we want to go. So let's understand what is self-regulation. So self-regulation is the ability to monitor and manage one's thoughts, emotions, energy state, and behavior in a manner that are acceptable and produce positive results as well-being, loving relationships, and learning. What does this mean? So it means that, if there is a stimuli and the stimuli comes from the environment and from situations, which is external, how do we make sense of the stimuli? Cognitively, that is, how do we understand, what is going on? And emotionally, understanding what we are feeling about this stimuli, making sense of it in a balanced manner, and choosing appropriate responses, coping responses, and trying to adapt or alter responses as per the need of the hour, which is internal. So in short, self-regulation means, do we have the ability to keep our emotions in check when there are things going berserk? Do we have the ability to resist impulsive behavior that may worsen the situation? Or do we try to manage the situation? Can we cheer ourselves up when we are feeling low and down? Do we have the ability to bounce back? Do we have the ability to be flexible to the range of emotions that's happening within us due to the external stimuli or triggers? And what is our behavioral responses to it? Do we have an understanding of the impact of our behavior on others? Do we have an understanding of what is the environment and the situation trying to tell us? Can we make sense of all this? So why is self-regulation so important? What is the big focus on self-regulation? It's important because we have to teach our children, and we ourselves have to learn to have a harmonious relationship with family and friends, because we're all social animals, and hence relationship is the key to our life. We have to teach our children, the ability to thrive in a complex world. And how is it that we teach children to have a better attention, problem-solving capabilities? Can we teach our children to have a focus on task? Can we empower them to perform better on task? With self-regulation, children also learn, to delay quick gratification. They're able to focus, on long-term goals. For long-term mental health, I believe a balanced way of life is critical. And all this self-regulation also helps in academic performance. So how do we, how can parents and caregivers, primary caregivers teach children, or empower children to self-regulation? One of the most important thing is that children watch us, so they model us, and hence it is very important for parents and well-meaning adults to adopt and practice a better emotional regulation strategy. So what it means is that how do we behave when we are faced with frustration, stress, and situations that are not conducive? Do we model positive emotions and emotional regulations, or do we just go berserk? Do we have a balanced approach and a calm approach to life? How do we expose our children to a positive environment, to people who are good with good self-regulator skills? These make a huge difference. The environment make a huge difference. People make a huge difference. Also, how do parents manage, with intense feelings? Do they struggle? Do they balance? Are they able to be the calm in the storm when they are going through, emotions, challenging emotions? So parental modeling, I believe, is the best way to bring up our children and have an sense of emotional regulation in them. Now, self-regulation, as I said, that, toddlers, it starts very early in life. So when children are going through big emotions, what do we do? For little children with big emotions, when they are going through big emotions, can we change the environment quickly? Can we, can parents be balanced and eliminate distractions and focus on the child? If the child is going through big emotions like, frustration, anxiety, can we allow the child to just steam off? Can we just be with them? Can we create, a soothing environment for them? Can we just, eliminate all distractions by switching off the TV, maybe, dim the light, provide some soothing object? Can we make a cozy, atmosphere by throwing some pillows together? Boost up the child's emotion, distract the child from the current emotion, build up something like a tent. Or the most important thing is, can we teach our children to take a deep breath? Breathing has a lot of importance in the way we emote. The most important thing also that all of us can, empower our children with is, and teach our children is, to name the emotions. What are they feeling? So if a child is going through big emotions or frustrations, can we be warm and, accepting and responsive to what they are going through at that moment? Can we at least allow them to talk about their feelings, ask them what they are feeling, how they are feeling, why they are feeling? Listen to them. When I'm saying listen, really listen to them while they're talking about their feelings, rather than trying to, make sense of what they are, saying. Because with their emotions, and with their feelings, they're trying to tell us something. Can we accept, support, show empathy, and validate, the child's feeling? Can we be patient with them? Kindly do not ignore, dismiss, discourage, punish, or negatively react to a child's emotions, especially the little child's big emotions. It matters what the child is feeling. So how do we improve self-regulation? So the first thing that I would say is that if we want our child to have a balanced, regulated emotions, we should be the first person. So the most important thing, as I told you, is, being a good role model as a parent and a well-meaning adult. Can we be a good role model? Can we live with integrity? Can we preach, practice what we preach? Because children do listen to us, and they do have conflicting and confusing thoughts. If we are not aligned to what we are saying, can we create a very trusting environment for the child to open up and have conversations with us? Can we live in alignment to the values that we believe in and the values that we're trying to inculcate in our child? How open, we are to change? Are we positive about the changes that happen in the environment, in the life, that is happening to us? Do we adapt quickly to changes? Do we have as an adult, have the capability to identify the triggers of the environment, triggers of others? Do we have self-awareness about what we are feeling, how we are feeling? Are we in touch with our emotions? How do we manage difficult situations? Do we manage difficult situations with a calm and a balanced view? Do we have a balancing act when things are going wrong to us? Are we calm in the storm, when there is pressure? How is it that we manage pressure? Do we keep our cool? Do we practice relaxation methods? Do we take one thing at a time? Do we also, while behaving, consider consequences? Do we actually give in to that nasty behavior that comes sometimes? Do we reflect on, the bad behavior that we may have had? Do we accept our mistakes after reflection? Are we also in a habit of correcting and rectifying our errors? Are we in a habit of apologizing if we realize that something has gone wrong, because of our behavior? So considering consequences, these are very important because our children are watching us and they learn everything first at home and with well-meaning adults, primary caregivers. So do we, are we a good role model for the child in self-regulation? I also firmly believe that some of the self-care methods is very important. So if we have to have a balanced self-regulated behavior, we have to, take care of ourselves first. So, when things are going wrong, do we have the capability to just breathe and balance, not get carried away by what's going wrong around us? If it is our child with big emotions, do we manage it in a balanced manner? Are we first balanced about our thought process, our emotions? We can, as parents, we also need to care for ourselves. Can we do some relaxation methods? Can we use some soothing music to manage our emotions or manage the situations that's going on around us? Mindfulness helps in a big way, and I would definitely propagate meditation, because I firmly believe 10 minutes of meditation makes a huge impact on our brain, our behavior, the way we think, the way we carry ourselves, the way we interact with others. Yoga activities helps brings about the discipline in our life. Do we have some active activities, for a focus? Maybe we can do some running, take a step of our system. Can we swim? Can we get into some aerobic activities? Most importantly, do we get adequate amount of sleep? Because I firmly believe the medicine to everything that's going wrong in our life is a good sleep, a calm mind, and good hygiene habits. Thank you for listening to me. That's from my side.
Thank you so much, Girija. I think that's a very wonderful insight into development of self-regulation and how parents can be instrumental, in this role. Because we as role models, yes, our children are listening and also watching what we are doing. So if we are self-regulated, definitely we are enabling or empowering our children to be self-regulated. So now going on to Mr. Tarun. Mr. You are a motivational speaker, trainer, and you have wide experience. We've seen that. So can you give us some tips as how can students stay self-motivated in today's world? Because Mr. Tarun, with the pandemic and with the onset, of this whole situation that we are in, I've met a lot of youngsters who are kind of, demotivated because they feel that they have no career options. I mean, a lot of things happening. So, and even we have seen teenagers who are probably, they are not going to school as of now, but I have seen that a trait in teenagers that they're not very motivated in these days, most of the time. So give us some tips on that. You please share some tips. You're muted, sir.
Now it's fine?
Yeah.
Again, the answer is you have to be happy.
And then remain self-motivated.
I'm telling you seriously. I will tell you one of the lovely secrets which I used to tell everyone. First of all, okay, let me clear, there is a no pandemic. I'm sorry, there is a no problem. There is a no challenge. This is actually, we convince our brain that we are in a deep trouble. That's why the problem is there. I just wanted to ask you, everyone, I mean, here this question, and I used to ask the same question with my participants also. Is it COVID-19 who kills so many people, or the fear of COVID-19? Come on. use chat box also. And I just wanted to ask you, COVID-19 ने ज़्यादा मारा या उसके डर ने मारा?
Fear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I'm so happy. This is actually the fear. So it is not about COVID. It is about fear. And you know, the vaccination which we are using right now, that is not going to kill COVID-19. That is again to enhance our immunity, isn't it? So it is enhancing our immunity. So, you know, as you said, I'm agree with you that our kids are not at all motivated right now because of this environment situational. But I think I think, and I'm sure also, why our kids are not motivated, why they are feeling so stressed, because of us. Because parents are also so stressed. Because the school, the teachers are also very stressed. काम कर लो, homework कर लेना, online situation में आना है, you have to give. So this is creating, you know, a stressful condition in the brain of that lovely young child, and they are full of creativity. So my point, my tonic is number one is that please stay happy. And as Girija madam, she was saying that, you know, meditation, what lovely way, music. Even I'm adding something, dance. मैं dance कराता हूँ यहाँ पर. You just watch my Facebook channel and my YouTube also. You know, these people, they're having salary of 5 lakh rupees per month, but they never dance since 30 years. So when I try to call them, come on, Bangla, Punjabi, any numbers you can dance, and no, Preeti ma'am is also laughing, isn't it? This is actually success. If you are, and the best award goes to again Girija ma'am, your smile is seriously so good. I'm telling you seriously, this is the only way. If you are smiling like this in front of your child, just let me know, क्या उसे डर लगेगा? नहीं लगेगा. If you are smiling like this in front of your kids, as a parent, as a teacher, if you are a teacher and in online session, you begin your session with this kind of smile, I bet, I can 100% assure you that no kids, you know, can feel any kind of demotivation anytime. Oh, I tell you about, you know, and the second thing is think big, dream big. हमको छोटा सोचना सिखाया जाता है. Think big, you know. Dhirubhai Ambani, the favorite quote of Dhirubhai Ambani is think big. Can you believe? And you know, Bruce Lee, if you heard about it, Bruce Lee. So I love actually quotations. Why I'm using quotations? Because, you know, there are few people in this world who created that history. And then they set some words, and that is called formula to success. So Bruce Lee ने क्या बोला? To hell with circumstances. Can you believe? To hell with circumstances, I create my own opportunity. This pandemic is just coming, you know, to me to just check our patience level. And there is a lovely example of Neeraj Chopra. Can you believe this lovely man? मैं सबको बोल रहा हूँ, when he, you know, achieved that Olympic gold medal, the day before he got that medal, just imagine, एक दिन पहले nobody in this country, nobody news channel, nobody political, even I also don't know about it, isn't it? हम जानते भी नहीं थे उसके बारे में. But just after one day, the whole world knew about him. Who is Neeraj Chopra? Why? Because he thinks about, you know, he thinks big. We don't know about the game, which he is playing actually. We don't know the name of that game also. But the single man dream, the passions, the determination, the rigidness, वो जो जिद होती है ना बच्चों में, and I love that zid, you know, I love that zid. Even I'm talking about my daughter, she's 8 years, and you know, you all have kids, I suppose. You know, जब वो छोटे थे, याद है 2 years, 3 years, they were very rigid. याद है? वो गिर जाते थे, फिर उठ जाते थे, फिर गिर जाते थे, फिर उठ जाते थे. You know why? Because they had this fighting spirit. उनके अंदर that was actually you know, programmed by God. Fearless kid, unstoppable kid. नहीं मम्मा मेरे को चाहिए, मम्मा मेरे को चाहिए, मम्मा चाहिए, पापा चाहिए. They were fearless actually. Also, he is serving country as an officer. Yes, absolutely. He is serving, and that's why he developed, Neeraj Chopra, he developed that kind of fearless attitude. And because of that dream, because of that passion, he made every one of us now proud. And now we are talking about him. So my tonic to every child, every parent, every teacher, please tell your kid to be fearless. Tell your kid to think big. Tell your kid to just write down about their dream. क्या बनना है उनको? And I'm 100% again agree with Girja ji that allow them to think about their dreams also. And Snowy also, she also mentioned, yaar, it's fine if you sing, doesn't matter. मैं गाना भी गाता हूँ हमारे प्रोग्राम में म्यूजिक होता है तो आई यूज टू सिंग आल्सो क्योंकि लोग बोलते हैं यार तुम मोटिवेशन स्पीकर में सिंगर क्यों नहीं बन जाते so I'm just finding out my way. I realized my capability of speaking like this. Can you believe at the age of 21? So lovely parents, this is my request to you. You know, after completion of my graduation degree, I was not aware that I'm a wonderful speaker. I have a video on Josh Talk. I have a channel, The Tarun Talks. If you want to inspire yourself, so you can, subscribe my channel also, okay? I'm telling you seriously, if you really want to inspire yourself, so that can be a best way. There are so many lovely, wonderful speakers out there on YouTube. They are going to motivate you. But I'm telling you seriously because this is my favorite line. There is only one man who can stop you to achieve your target, and that is you actually. And about this pandemic, again, I'm telling you, out of 130 crores of Indians, just imagine how many people suffered from COVID. बताइए जरा 130 करोड़ लोगों में से कितने लोगों को कोविड हुआ है in these two waves also, wave 1 and wave 2, without medicines even. I suppose how many? 3 crores? 3 crores people? Or how many? If you can correct me, any one of you can correct me, how many people suffered from that COVID? And death kitne log ka hua? 3 lakhs. Just imagine, out of 130 crores, only 3 lakhs. So it doesn't matter. डरने का जरूरत नहीं है. Feel positive that after this kind of pandemic, we are survived. We are still with our family. Okay. हमने इसको पार कर दिया. Now we develop vaccination also. Now we have developed so many things. I'm wearing glasses. Why? Because that is now mandatory because I'm using so many times phone and laptops also. There are so many. That's why I'm using glasses. So this is the finest way. So number 1, be happy. Number 2, think big. Number 3, dream and write down your dream. I'm telling you, this is the magical approach. If you write down your dream, and I'm telling you, damn, you will get the dream. Because this is again a science by Harvard University, and there are so many people. Because I have so many, survey reports with me. Because if you can write down your dream on a paper, and if it is a big paper, no, you will get your dream, like Neeraj Chopra. I'm telling you seriously. And number 5, follow your parents, your teachers. They really love you. Nowadays, what is happening? Teachers have very less faith in their, teachers. Why? Because of interaction, online programs are there. Even I'm talking about my kid, my daughter Radhika. So she's in second, first, third class right now. And she doesn't know about her teacher because of online challenges. So first of all, you have to learn a lovely smile with Girja ji. जब भी class में आना है, teachers, this is a mandatory for you. So keep smiling. Hello kids, how are you? Love you a lot. This is enough to create fearless things in the brain of that kid. It will get motivated. उनको अच्छा लगेगा. They will feel happy to attend your classes. And just tell them to write down about their dreams. Just think about it. And it doesn't matter about only your engineering degree, your management degree, you want to be a doctor. No. उनको बोलो जो तुमको बनना है. Whatever you wanted to be, we are with you. And that COVID will not affect me anymore because we have developed lovely immunity power. We already developed immunity power. And we are, so lovely people. And if you do that meditation part also, dance also, can you believe? Dance can reduce 50% probability to get heart attack. आपको डांस करोगे तो आपको अटैक नहीं आएगा. So dance with your kids in your houses because जब तक स्कूल नहीं खुलता, you have to plan all these things. And now my secret, जो मैं बताता हूँ, which is I am famous for, happiness. There is a scientific way to be happy all the time because we all are using some stories also, and I also go through so many historical part also. If I'm getting late, so please give me a thumbs up, okay? If I'm crossing my time, so please give me a thumbs up. बोलना नहीं, but thumbs up कर देना और हंस के करना, okay? So what is happening? I used to tell people that you have to be happy if you want to be stress-free. You have to smile a lot because it's laughter yoga. You have to laugh a lot if you want to be disease-free. You have to laugh a lot. You have to smile a lot if you want to be in a good relationship. But situation again is that we don't smile, isn't it? We don't smile. We don't smile. This is mandatory. And when you smile, when you laugh, there is a chemical in your brain. I'm a brain trainer, so I'm authority on that. Okay. When you smile, whenever there is a chemical in your brain which is called endorphin. My God. So जैसे ही आपने smile किया, it could be a fake smile also. जैसे अभी मैं fake smile कर रहा हूँ. Okay, I actually, when I was a child, then I used to say I hate my math teacher. But अभी मैं पता क्या बोलता हूँ? I love my math teacher. So that love is programmed in my brain, in my neuron. So whenever I use that love part, so it will create endorphin in my body. And endorphin क्या करते हैं? Endorphin will boost your immune system immediately. Can you believe? That's why I laugh a lot. That's why मेरी वाइफ से कभी भी फोन आता है मेरे पास तो मैं पहले हंसता हूँ 2 मिनट तक. Actually, I'm in Goa. So I mean, this is the way to face any adversity. Can you believe? So this is for all the husbands actually. Whenever you have any kind of tough problem in your life, तो पहले हंस लो, okay? If you don't love math, so math की books खोलने से पहले you have to laugh for 5 seconds. And mind it can be fake also. If you heard about it, that movie Munna Bhai MBBS, अगर आपने देखा हो तो, that was Dr. Rastana, Munna Bhai MBBS, Dr. Rastana, he was a chief medical officer of that hospital, vice chancellor, but he also developed that technique that whenever he will face any kind of adverse situation in his life, he used to laugh, isn't it? याद है आपको? वो हंसते थे. उनकी बेटी के साथ कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ था तो he was smiling. And I know this is tough. I know this is tough. If I used to, I wanted to tell you, can you laugh like me, smile like me? तो आप बोलोगे नहीं, it is very tough. It is very tough. It is tough. But my dear friends, my dear students, my dear parents, my dear teachers, everywhere, मैं आपको सच बोल रहा हूँ. Even that fake laughter can do wonders in your body. It will motivate you to live another day. You will not get any kind of disease in your life. You will easily get your dream also, because yaad rakhna, whenever you have some difficult or different kind of dreams, and this is for students. Okay, this is again a truth of life. Most of the people, even the family people also, they are going to oppose you. Sach bata raha hu. If you have a different view, different thought, different dream, which people are not following, so they are going to oppose you. So at that time also, that will help you out to get some kind of happiness and some kind of patience. And my last formula is, which even I'm sorry, but I'm not agree with this formula. I used to ask this to my teachers and my parents, and that is very famous one. Where there is a will, there is a way. मुझे ये फॉर्मूला समझ में नहीं आया कभी. Where there is a will, there is a way. I used to ask my teachers, what is this? So they used to tell me, this is a formula to get success. If you have a will, you will get success. If you have a will, you will get success. So मैं पूछता था, but I had a will to top in 12th class. Everyone had that will to get that girl. Everyone had that will to be Prime Minister of India. Everyone had that will to be an IAS officer. Okay, so that formula is not working just because of will. If you have, तो मैंने 12th में भी टॉप नहीं किया, 12th में भी टॉप नहीं किया, कॉलेज में भी टॉप नहीं किया. So then I thought, yes, now it is a time to change little bit of our thought. So now I develop a new formula. If you feel it's good, use this formula in your life and you will get success. And that is what, can you believe? That is where there is a grill, there is a way. Where there is a grill, there is a way. जहाँ रास्ता बंद हो जाता है, when everyone is going to oppose you, there is a way actually. IAS is not, to achieve UPSC exam, it is not easy. You have to crack that grill actually. People are going to oppose you, like Neeraj Chopra, like PV Sindhu, like hockey, lovely hockey team. Nobody is favoring them actually before getting that kind of medal. But they were cracking that grill. So where there is a will also may be good, but right now the important logic is where there is a grill, there is a way. जहाँ रास्ता बंद हो जाता है ना, actually मैं उसी के पीछे रास्ता हूँ. So for that you need energy. For that you need a people like us. For that you need a people like that Vasu Academy also. There are so many people are going to help you. You need to contact us. Plus my last and lovely method, and that is called how to laugh. And that is a mandatory, that is a compulsory. If you want to motivate it, if you want to happy, if you want to get good relationship, if you want to get good professional, kuch bhi karna hai, so you have to.
You got muted, Mr. Tarun. Yeah. Have to unmute yourself. No, it's not getting unmuted. I'll try, but I have to check. Just a moment. You are not able to unmute yourself?
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Now it's audible. Now it's audible. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now it is again an adverse situation. So whenever you face any adverse situation, you have to smile. Okay. You have to smile. And there is a scientific way. When I used to ask people, how many times you smile in a day? Preeti madam, how many times you smile in a day? Come on. Be sincere.
I smile throughout the day.
Oh my God. Very good. Very good. Very good. Actually, the question is people, but if I say average in a average term, how many times people used to laugh in a day?
It all depends on the people. It depends from person
to person.
Normally,
yes.
normally. Yeah. Still, if I'm asking like a big number of people. I met so many people in a program, and they used to say 1 or 2, and that is also very often. Yes, 3 times. 2-3 times, and that is also often. Please use that chat box also. It just depends on person to person. But again, I'm telling you, a big number of people, they are not using that wonderful, smile in your body. And there is again one more chemical that is called cortisol. It is a death hormone. Whenever you say shit, whenever you are saying, oh my God, I'm not happy, I'm sad, I'm unlucky. Don't use ever these words, because these words are programmed in your body, in your brain. And whenever you are using these kind of words, negative words, it creates a death hormone chemical in your body, which is called cortisol, and that is killing your white blood cells in your body. And I'm not going through the scientific process. So
thank you, Mr. Tarun. We have to now go on to our next speaker, and I'll come back to you again for the final tips on and the tonic, because this is really interesting. And I'm thinking about the serotonin also, the happiness hormone. And
yes.
But yeah, so let's ask Preeti. Tarun already talked about staying motivated. So he says that we should not get demotivated at any point of time, any point in time, be it good or bad. So now coming to Preeti, my important question, even, I was just thinking when I was just thinking about the questions for this topic. In this world of gadgets, we see that there is a lot of, there's a lesser number of social connections in the youngsters in these days. So there is a lot of isolation in today's children, because they are kind of glued to a virtual world. And even if, they have people coming into the houses, but they're inside their rooms doing something on their own. So they're very, very kind of, recluse kind of a thing. So tell us something about the benefits of being a social animal in a long-term basis. So why we should develop the social skills, and even if the teenagers are now getting into a virtual world, how they can come out of it and develop social skills, and how is it going to benefit them in the long run? Over to you, Preeti.
Thank you, Dr. Vasvi. So whether this is a much required question or not, but yes, a must required answer for everybody to know that why is it required to be a social animal? Man is a social animal by birth. So he should be like that. He should be the same till he dies. I will share a short video for this. Is just for 3 minutes.
If you talk to someone that has recently moved, started a new job, or retired, and ask them what they miss most about their past situation, one of the most common answers is that they miss the people that were in their life. What that actually means is that they miss the social connections or relationships that they had with those people. Social connections or social interactions with other individuals is crucial to mental health, which in turn is crucial to overall health. The lack of social connections has shown to increase stress hormones, weaken the immune system, and lessen cardiovascular functions. People who are lonely tend to consume more alcohol, exercise less, have less quality sleep, and fatigue easily. Social relationships allow you to share your achievements and have support when times are tough. Imagine achieving a long-term goal you had. What's the first thing you want to do? Tell someone, of course. Or imagine if something terrible happened. Not having someone to lean on and talk to can make that event linger and make you feel even more isolated. Giving support in relationships can actually be more beneficial than receiving support. When someone shares something positive in their life with you, it's a compliment. They wanted you to be a part of their success, and they know that you have a sincere interest in their life. And when someone shares a tragedy in their life, you know they really trust you, and they're looking to you to help them through this difficult time. Now, some social relationships can be bad. A person that is constantly negative and has a poor outlook can bring you down and cause stress, making that relationship toxic. Someone that always talks about themselves and makes all of your interactions about them, well, that's not really a social connection. In that case, you're just an audience member in their one-person show on how wonderful their life is. Poor marital or poor relationship quality can also weaken the immune system and erode physical health. Dealing with stress from a poor relationship can lead to over-consuming food or alcohol, smoking, or taking medications to deal with the stress, which in turn can damage systems in the body. Connections through social media can be beneficial by allowing you to stay in touch with friends and family. However, social media connections are not a good alternative for face-to-face, in-person contact. And too much time spent on social media can lead to more isolation and a greater feeling of loneliness. It's a good practice to use social media in moderation. To be healthy, we need people in our lives. It doesn't need to be 5,000 Facebook friends, and we don't have to have everyone like us. Having strong social relationships with just a few people is fine. A few people that we can share life's good and bad moments with, a few people that we can connect with on a regular basis with no stress and no judgments. A few people who accept us for who we are. Surround yourself with good people, folks. Good people.
So that is it. What is it all about? It's not necessary that we have 5,000, 10,000 and lakhs of followers on our Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. But most importantly is to how many people do we actually talk? My mom used to always say that your best friend can be somebody else's best friend. So we need not share our secrets with everyone and whomever we meet, but there should be very few people in your life whom with you can share your secrets with. And that of course avoids, I mean, you will never ever go into isolation. But I also think that this isolation word has come recently when majorly because of this lockdown, when everyone was at home, most of the people were on their phones, on their Facebook, on their like they have to be with someone, right? So what is the best option? To be on the social media. That was the best option. And then it is also noticed that a single post where you get fewer likes, that again stresses you out. You again start feeling that you're not liked by people. So there are many facts attached to it. And there is one more intriguing fact I want all of you to answer, that in the developed world, everywhere, I have seen, like I have observed that women live an average of 6 to 8 years longer than men do. What is the answer to this? Why do women live longer than men do? Anybody can answer in the chat box. I can give a hint. It's closely related to the question that I'm answering. Okay, they are more involved in the family because they are engaged in talking to each other. Yes, right, because they socialize more. And of course, 6 to 8 years is a huge gap. And the reason behind it is simple, that women socialize more than men. Now, social interaction not only helps adults, but it also helps children as well. Now, the teenagers as well, because it helps children to start to develop their sense to self. And that is what is important. And that is what is, I mean, it's lost because of this pandemic, because children have stopped going to schools, they have stopped playing down. So this is more creating and leading to isolation. And now to begin with, even the preschoolers, the childcare, the daycare centers are almost closed because parents think there is no point Of course, physical schools are closed, so there is no point in making them sit in front of the camera for 3 to 4 hours. So again, there is no interaction on online for these young children. And then it is natural for these children to feel stressed, to feel anxiety, grief, and worry during the ongoing pandemic like COVID-19. Now, fear and anxiety about their own health, or maybe about the health of their loved ones, can be overwhelming, not only for adults but also for children. And then they start feeling more isolated because everybody is so busy. If a single person is unwell, everybody is so busy taking care of them that these children tend to go onto social media, nobody to talk to. It's just like watching a movie, a one-way movie where you can just chat, but you don't have a listening ear. And that's what creates an isolation. Now it is further enhanced when children are not able to go out to play or attend school or interact freely. Now for these children and families who are subjected to quarantine or isolation, there may be increased risk of violence or abuse at home. Here comes the role of a parent as a caregiver. The parents should promote an environment where children can grow up and develop their full potential, having fun and being safe and healthy. Now, children should also express psychological distress, if any, anxiety, if any, and sadness they may express all of this in different ways. And then as parents, we at times fail to understand that why are they behaving in a different way. Now, each child behaves differently. Some may become silent, while others may feel and express anger and hyperactivity. Now, parents need to be patient, because if you're not patient and you're not giving a listening ear to them, they are definitely going to feel isolated. And as we have started in the beginning, that man is a social animal. So it is not only an adult man who has grown up, but even the children who are in their growing years, they need socialization as well. And they are missing on a huge part. We as adults, we very well understand that the reason of not going out, but these children, they always think that why are we not allowed to go down. And now basically, now sometimes also engaging your children in interactive activity at home, such as playing and drawing, can facilitate the process for your children. You should always help your children find positive ways to express maybe disturbing feelings such as anger, fear, and sadness. You should always explain them that nobody should be stigmatized or signaled for having the disease. And most importantly, not to feel isolated, and to, you should avoid watching, reading, listening, or discussing too much of news about COVID-19. And that is what creates fear. And it definitely leads to more of anxiety and persuade children to divert their attention to other topics as well. Now, to end with, I would like to give few suggestions to the viewers, that always listen to your child. Since they are already feeling isolated sitting at home, they have already cut off from their friends. Maybe now, I guess recently children have started going out, but listen to your children. Give them opportunities to talk about what they are feeling. Encourage them to share concerns and encourage them to ask questions. 2, give them the level of comfort. Use simple tools to comfort and calm your children. For example, maybe telling stories, singing with them, playing games. Praise them frequently for their strengths, such as showing courage, compassion, and helpfulness. To end with the last point, reassure your children every time and all the time. Reassure them, that children, that you are prepared to keep them safe, provide them with the correct information through the valid sources, to avoid this isolation in children and make them more and more socialized. If they're not able to go out, socialize in the home itself. That's the best tip I would like to say.
Thank you so much. Very well said. And I think you were within the timing, so very nice. And I think there were lot of good takeaways also from all our speakers that we had. And I think now let's go to Snowy. And Snowy, you are a psychologist and you're practicing, and you've listened to all our other 3 speakers, what they had to say about self-regulation, what Tarun said about motivation, what Preeti said about, social skills. So tell us, what are the traits or the trends that you see in today's teenagers? both good and bad, in relation to the three main points that we have touched upon in today's webinar. And what is your comment from a psychologist point of view, number one? And number two, you can very briefly also talk about what are the ways ahead for parents to guide their children to be achievers in the true sense, because this is the right time, you know, the teenagers, that is a time where when they actually somehow these children, adolescents, when they reach adolescence, they start moving away from their parents, you know. So how can parents actually get closer to them and kind of, you know, guide in the right sense to become true achievers? Over to you, Snowy.
Right. Thank you so much for that question. Well, everybody put forward some very, very relevant points. There's no doubt about that. When we talk about self-regulation, let's start with that. Before we start regulating our emotions, we need to identify them. And that is where the role of a caregiver could come. So I'm going to mix and match. So what Miss Preeti said, right? Listen to them. Most of the time, what we do is we don't even listen to the full question and we like start giving the solution. So for example, our child is like, Mummy, I did. And then before the I did could be complete, you always do stuff like that. Tell me what needs to be done. I'll go fix it. You don't have to be a fixer for them per se. That is one thing. When we talk about social engagements, try and engage, be it adolescents, be it toddlers. So from, adaptation is one thing that humans or any species are, kind of born with. If we don't adapt, our species is gonna go extinct, right? That is what it is. That is what the theory of evolution is somewhat, if we talk about it in layman terms. So adaptability is important. COVID-19 hit us and we were not prepared for it. To be honest, none of us thought that something like this could be here. Fiction movies were all, we would look into, be it Hollywood or, if you'd watch some classic Indian cinema, you'd see that these things were there. So adaptability is important, and it has been shown that you can use normal household tools at home to exhibit adaptability. For example, in toddlers, you can use clay items to show them that the same clay item can shift forms and you have to adapt accordingly. That, okay, so you made a ball, but I crushed the ball. Now what else can you make from it, right? So that is what is important. Similarly, for adolescents, like Dr. Vasvi, you pointed out, that it is difficult to come on the same page with them. So what we parents try to do is either we try to become their best friends, or we have a very strong, authoritative parenting style, right? Either we try to go all in or all out. We just don't know what we need to do there. First of all, it's okay to accept that you are coming from a place of authority as a parent. By default, you have your life experiences and you will see certain things from a different perspective. But how do you communicate it? Here, you have to listen to them first, that, okay, this is what the issue is. You ask them, so what do you think could be a probable solution? That is, problem solving, but together. That, okay, so this thing happened, that's all right. I may not be able to clear your mess right now. You did create it, but let's talk about the solutions that are there. Okay. Having a corner or a safe space in the house is another such thing that we can do. We have these, the idea behind it is to have a safe corner to vent things out. Even in a 1 BHK flat, you can ask your kids or give them some space. I know that in our culture, the concept of giving space is again something which is not promoted a lot. So it would be like, what does a child need space for? Depression, what is that? How can you be sad? These are the emotions that you just can't feel, right? Sometimes we promote positive emotions so much that we forget that it's okay to feel negative emotions, like Ms. Preeti pointed out. So first, we have to be accepting of the things before we can move on and learn how to manage them better. That is how we learn to self-regulate. Once we learn how to self-regulate them, motivating the child gets easier by the minute, or motivating an adult gets easier by the minute. Unless we don't accept that, okay, I did something which may not be benefiting me completely. How am I supposed to solve it? Or how am I supposed to get over it? Or how am I supposed to move on? Right? So this is what I understand from our discussion today. But when you talk about the way forward, there is this concept of social emotional learning. And I think all of us are aware of it now, right? So social emotional learning as a concept is very, very important and should be introduced at kindergarten level, is what the researchers are showing, right? So I was reading this very interesting functionalist approach. So there is this theory, and they say that a child can recognize emotions as early as 18 months old. So maybe a 24-month-old toddler is standing there. They understand the concept of embarrassment. So maybe for you, it's like, oh, you change your clothes in front of your aunt, it's all right. You're a kid. We say things like that, but they feel embarrassment. They might not want to do it. Start listening to them from that age. So you also, as a parent, inculcate these behaviors that, you have to treat a child as an individual. So the concept of SEL, basically, it talks about self-awareness, being aware of your surroundings, of yourself, what you're going through, the emotions that are there, recognize them. Then you learn how to, the next step, self-regulation. You learn how to regulate them, be it temper tantrums that are seen at all stages, be it adolescents or older adults, or young adults. So everybody has these temper tantrums, be it frustration, irritation, anger, no matter what you want to call it, but it is there. So you learn how to regulate it. Then we talk about social awareness. Unless we are not aware of the social situation, the culture we are in, the environment we are living in, what could be normal in my environment may not be normal in US, right? For example, in our environment, it's okay to live with our parents till we are like 80 because we want them to live with us, right? In US, that is something which is frowned upon. So we need to be socially aware of the environment we are in, and then we got to socially accept it. Then we talk about relationship skills, how man is a social animal, which is true. And with the COVID scenario, it is important to, accept the reality, which is that maybe at times it's not, let's say you are in a red zone, so it's not practical to just go outside. That is where practicality would come in. So what do? It wasn't like we don't know how to live in a time before technology was invented. So our parents, or even ourselves, I think that now the newer generation is not very familiar with the things like, let's say, I'll just give you an example of Antakshari. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not, but I remember growing up, if electricity would go out, our parents would just collect all of us, because I come from a place where we'd had snowfalls and things, so you can't necessarily go out as well. So we'd sit and just play certain games. We have Monopoly, we have this, we have that. That is where you can also develop social skills. You learn social skills even in a 1 BHK apartment, sitting with a single parent or siblings, or with both your parents. So relationship skills, or basically social skills, can start developing through that scenario as well. And the last one, but not the least, is responsible decision making, where you must treat your child as an individual and not necessarily an extension of yourself. Because when we treat a child as an extension of ourselves, we assume that ye to isko aise hi behave karna chahiye, right? My kid is supposed to behave this way because otherwise I'm a bad parent. But that is not what it is. Your child is an individual, will always be an individual. So the sooner you start respecting that individual difference, the better you'll be able to learn how to teach a child responsible decision making or problem solving. And we have a lot of tools and kits that you can just, innovatively use at home or at school. So this is what I think is something that we can use. Of course, there are a lot of other methodologies and ways, but I just hold on to my time and end it with this note that we need to be very, very well aware of what is happening before we start talking about the solutions. Because unless we don't identify the problem, we'll just be, kind of shooting a bow and arrow in dark room. So might not hit the bullseye correctly. So once you identify what the problem is, finding a solution, getting on with it, talking to your child, getting a result out of it gets way, way easier. So yeah, that is what I would like to say.
Absolutely, Snowy, very well said. And I think it completely resonates, in today's times, when I would not only talk about the pandemic, because pandemic is, I believe I've understood Tarun's point of view that it's all good. But then there are certain situations where, adolescents and teenagers, they are confused. They don't know. They are, not self-regulated. They don't understand. And then they do not have somebody very close to even to share, and they go the wrong way. So this is a time when, when they can actually, if they are from the early childhood years, if they have that support system, if they have that love and the care and the motivation to stay self-motivated, it really works for them, besides the education part of it, which is so important, because that is again another part of the entire success story that we are talking about today. So thank you so much, Girija, Preeti, Tarun, and Snowy for joining in this webinar today. I think lot of takeaways from everyone and all of our esteemed panelists, and I believe absolutely those who have been attending here would benefit from it. And I thank everybody for joining us today. And with that note, a very good evening to all of you. Have a great evening ahead, and a very happy Independence Day once again. We have our freedom. We should know how to use it. Thank you
with
so
a
much.
lovely laughter. With a laughter.
With a laughter. So we all smile our way out from this Zoom meeting. And
Now look, at that. This is the point in the whole program. Now you are looking so beautiful. I'm telling you seriously, this is a wonderful way. Just whenever you watch your time now, we develop these techniques in our programs. Whenever you watch your time, we have to laugh. So just for 5 seconds. So almost 10-15 times we used to laugh in that go also and my home also. So जब भी time देखिए हंस के दिखाइए. And what is the time now, by the way? Before saying bye?
yeah, it's 6:22.
No, not like that.
Oh, what?
What is the time?
Didn't get you.
What is the
Girija, you
time?
got it?
What is the time?
Laughter time. Just laugh.
Oh, the laughter time.
Whenever you watch time, you have to smile for 5 seconds, okay? And that will create all the things in your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And bye-bye to all of you. We are coming up with yet another webinar in the coming month, and we'll all see each other. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.